Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be continuing our playthrough of Dawn of Madness. We have Emily and we also have Linus. They are sneaking around inside these world shards trying to avoid these monsters, but they always seem to catch up. We're going to be continuing our playthrough going into the fourth round. In our last video, we were able to make it through the first 3 rounds and get a setup done, so hopefully we can get farther along in this game. Maybe we can even get to the finale before this is over. This video is shot pretty close to back to the last one because I was having so much fun. I just continued playing so I didn't get a chance to paint up any of the other miniatures for this game. I apologize. Hopefully going into the finale, maybe I'll have a little bit of time between then to get some of these painted up better. We'll see how that goes. Just bear with me. But that's all I got. We're going to continue this playthrough. If you're excited to see if Emily and Linus can make it to the finale in Dawn of Madness, then I need you to meet me at the table. Before we flip over our first token to move into the next round, I do want to mention, of course, this is for 16 plus in theory, so don't watch it. That'd be bad news if you're a kid and you're watching this. It's supposed to be pretty scary. All right, we're going to the fourth round, so we're going to check out our 40 event. We're going to start by checking the spawn conditions on the back of each unspawned encounter card. Then we're going to spawn Terror Patient Aftershock and 2 random terrors from the terror deck on different world shards. So that's going to bring our monster total back up to 5, and then 6 if you want to count the Abomination. Also, Wanderer Emily is going to be transported directly to the North Wing. Now, if Emily was currently trapped or dead, that wouldn't happen. But then we're going to have her turn to entry 171. For the ease of recording, I'm just going to read the entry first, then we'll move back to spawning our monsters and putting Emily in the North Wing. A taste of sisterhood. Do you know who I've been thinking of a lot recently? You ask. Who? Laura says. Our parents, you reply. Isn't that bizarre? After all this time, now I can't get them out of my head. Laura groans. Oh, Emily, she says. Why? They're not worth it. I know that, you say. I do. And I'm not even sure why. I can't get my mind off them. I guess maybe I'm just sad about how things ended up. They abandoned you, Emily, Laura said. Us? You have no reason to feel guilty. You're right, of course. I just... you sigh. I miss them. Maybe that's all there is to it. That's perfectly understandable, Laura replies. But don't let them consume your thoughts. It's a waste of energy, Em. We have each other, and that's enough. There's nothing they can offer you that you don't already have. Just don't forget how much our parents hurt us. What they did to us. Honestly, we're better off here than we were there. And this is a mental hospital. A thought crosses Laura's mind then, and she frowns. Looking down at her lap, she is silent for a moment before speaking again. Am I enough for you, Em? She asks, her voice suddenly small. I know we say we are, that it's just the two of us against the world, but sometimes I'm not sure it's true. If you want to reassure Laura, go to entry 6. Should you prefer to discuss your feelings further, proceed to entry 348. Finally, if you decide to defend your parents, turn to entry 285. The parents don't sound that great. Reassure Laura. 6? Or discuss your feelings further. Should we discuss our feelings further? Why not? 348. What could be the possibly downside of this? Let's learn more. Of course you are. You say, I don't know what exactly I'm feeling or why, but I do know that. Laura smiles at you. That means the world to me, Em, she says. Thank you. I don't get it, though, you say. Why are all these things rising to the surface now? A lot's going on, Laura says. With the future coming toward us so fast, it only makes sense that the past would want its say, too. How is the future coming fast, Laura? You ask. We're trapped in an asylum. How could every day help but be the same? Oh, no, Laura says. Everything is changing. You just need to know where to look. We're becoming whole, Emily. It won't be much longer now. We're going to gain 1 point into A, and then we're going to return to the game, and the action phase begins. A goes up to 2, and with that at 2 now, we have a full total points of 8 points out of 40. After that reading, we now have to spawn our 3 guys. We have Aftershock. We're going to roll this dice. I got a 4, so this person's going to go out on number 4, which is the in-between. So we're going to roll up a red and 2 purples. Let's see what we get here. We've got a wild, a brain, and a brain. So we'll place those riffs right on here. Purple brain, red brain, and a purple, which one is the purple? Nope, not a purple eye, it's the purple wild. Next, we're going to roll up for Bestial. Bestial's the one of the 2 we got here from our pile over there. It's this character right here with these like saw blade things all over it. I don't know. I think we're going to go put this character in number 2. Let's find that tile out here on the board. The character is spawning in the living room, so it's purple and 2 yellow. So we'll just grab one of these purple dice right here, roll them up. We got a skull, a wild, and a hands. We'll place those onto Bestial's board right here. Hands, skull, and a purple wild symbol there. Last we have is this flare. This flare is going to come flying at us from number 10, which is going to be the hidden place, using a blue, red, and yellow. So we'll roll those up, blue, red, and yellow. We got brain, brain, hand. We'll place those down as well, and then we'll go to the board and show you exactly where these guys are. I can tell you right now, they all spawned in absolutely terrible places. So this one spawned here. She actually has to go all the way back up there to the top part here. These 2 are down here, so all these are pretty much going to gang up on this poor guy, unless I can get Emily down there somehow so that we can actually help out our friends here. Oh boy, this is absolutely nuts. We have 5 enemies on the board, and none of them are hurt. Oh my gosh, and my guys don't have a lot of domains left. If you look at the domains they have, I've got a lot of hands and an eyeball here, lots of hands. She's at least got some on here, but he's got almost nothing over there. Not to mention our characters are badly wounded as well. At the top of the turn order, we do have our Abomination. Our Abomination is probably just going to move 1, so I'm going to move him down here, and then he's probably going to do something. Oh, actually, no, he's going to move 1 and probably do something awesome. So we'll put him right there for now. We've seen this guy in previous videos. He's going to move 1 towards the closest Wanderer. If he ends this in the Wanderer's square, that person is going to gain an Envenomed card. So now he has roll 1 less die for a sentience test during a defense test. Every one of them? Oh, we got to get rid of that. That's absolutely terrible. Now, of course, this Abomination is going to do something for the first activation of the round, and that is he's going to damage every person for 1 for each Envenom card they have. Both of our characters have no Envenom cards at the start. Now, we're going into his second round. Second turn. That is now tied with Emily and Linus, so that means our Abomination is going to go first. He is in a space where a Wanderer is, so we're just going to resolve the active confrontation card since we've already done the first deactivation of every round. All right, so we're going to do this one. A Wanderer has an Envenom card. This is truth. And it says here, choose a Wanderer with the most Envenom cards, which is going to be Linus. Every Wanderer within 1 space, there are none, thank goodness, Emily got pulled out of there, gains an Envenom card, including this one. So that means that good old Linus here is going to grab another Envenom card. He's got two Envenom cards. So now this one says that he rolls 1 less blue and purple. Oh my gosh, so he's rolling like 2 less on those. He's not rolling any dice to save his life. And he's got a lot of life that needs to be saved right here. Hoofda! Good news, that does drop this 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll draw the next card. And this one says, Wanderer has an Envenom card. The Wanderer with the most Envenom cards double his or her Envenom cards. Oh boy. Look at that. 4 green in order to do a confrontation. The other thing we have to do is place down our tokens for the new enemies. Bestial is going to be on 3. The Flare is going to be on 4. And Aftershock, I believe, is also going to be on 4. Yes, Aftershock is also going to be on 4. So we got to at least take out something before we get into this area. The first thing both my Wanderers are going to do is Gifts of Faith. Wanderers have a Faith token, may gain a random domain matching one of their Faith token sentience during their activation. Then once per round, roll a corresponding sentience die to determine the domain. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to flip that card over, knowing I can't use it again this round. I'm going to roll green and purple. Green for Linus and purple for Emily here. Let's see what we get. We got a brain and we've got an eye. We'll put the eye there and we'll put the brain over here. This may be odd, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Linus, and he's going to use this card to do a confrontation action. Now, one thing I do want to mention about these cards is I didn't really explain them all the greatest in the first time I did my first play part of this, the first part. So, from what I understand, if I'm wrong about this, please let me know in the comments below, but you can use only one of these at a time. You cannot use these back to back, but all you have to do to be able to use another one is do another action. For example, getting rid of an Envenom card would be used something else. Then I could go back and use one of these cards from what I understand. If I'm wrong, please let me know. I know last time I said you had to pay sentience. You don't have to technically pay sentience. You just have to perform another action in order to be able to use another support card. So the first support card I'm going to use is this one right here. We're going to do a confrontation action, and we're going to try to get the Abomination. Now, the Abomination has 4 green symbols on it right now, which I actually am doing pretty good. I've got a green eye and a green hand, so I only have to roll 2 other symbols on these green dice, and I get to roll 3 of them. So there's a pretty good chance I might get this. I'm hoping that the eyes hold up. The eyes are the most common thing on here, so I'm actually more worried about getting the hand symbol. Oh wow, I got lots of good stuff. I got 2 eyes and a hand symbol. I only have to use one of my eyes, one of my things to do it. I only have to use the hand. I actually get to keep the eye, which is going to be pretty key because I can use it for defense. So we're going to be able to use this to do our 3 damage to the Abomination, and I get 1 shard. That puts our Abomination at 13 health, and we're going to discard this card and draw a new one. The new one hopefully isn't as bad. It says here that choose a wanderer with the most Envenom cards, each wanderer within 1 space. The wanderer, including the one that gets an Envenom card, that's actually a lot nicer than the last one I had. Now, another card I have that we purchased in the last round is that I can spend shards instead of actions here. It says when you must spend or lose mental capacity, you may spend shards instead. 1 equals 1. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, no more than 3 per round. I'm actually going to spend both shards I have to get rid of both of these envenomed cards. Here's the next thing I'm going to do. Emily is going to use 1 mental capacity to move to the attic. At that point, she's going to use one of our cards to do an encounter action here in the attic. So we'll turn to book number 57. The rafters above oblivion. The stairs growl beneath you as you ascend to the attic. Telltale signs hint that people lived here long ago. Do they still? We'll find out. It says the rafters above oblivion. The stairs creak beneath you, voicing a dire warning as you ascend the steps and open the attic's door. Detritus litters the ground inside as cobwebs and torn cloth drapes from the ceiling. A cold draft twists around your limbs and torso before slithering away. This place looks more than a space used for storage. It almost appears someone lived here long ago. A chest of drawers lies on its side near a vanity with a broken mirror. The dresser's drawers either pulled out or missing altogether. An old record player sits abandoned on the floor near a collection of chairs and boxes, while childhood trinkets lie amidst a teenage girl's clothing and makeup. Did a teenager live up here? What happened to her? A ratty old bed sits in the far corner of the attic. Slowly you advance toward it, brushing aside a rope dangling from the ceiling. You stop, a chill shivering down your spine. This object isn't just a rope, it's a noose. You look around the room with a new sense of horror. Everywhere you look now, you see the signs of a struggle. Something terrible happened here. Should this be an event you remember? A pain seizes your chest and you double over, crying out. Tears are welling in your eyes. Are they from the discomfort or something else? Try to unravel the complex emotions rolling inside. Test yellow and green for eyes. If you succeed, ending +1D. If you fail, gain a lighthearted card. Good news for us, green again is most predominantly got the eyeball on it, and I'm rolling a ton of yellow dice, so hopefully I should be able to get 2 eyes out of this deal. I did. I got a yellow eye and I got a green eye. Our D track will move up to 4. It's actually our highest track right now. In case people are keeping score, our A track is at 2, our B track is at 2, our C is at 1, and our D is at 4. Brushing the tears from your eyes, you look up and spot a scalpel lying atop a nearby box. It gleams as if it just emerged from its wrapping. Look entirely out of place in this room. The pain is lessening, but your heart still beats just as fast. With shaking fingers, you pick up the scalpel. The girl lying on the bed moans, then sobs softly. You jump, startled by the new specter. Her back is to you, concealing her face. Slowly you approach her, cautiously reaching out to touch her. Then, as your fingers wrap around her shoulder, she turns toward you. Her face is nothing more than a black pit into oblivion. "Who am I?" she asks, her strangled voice airy as it wafts from the abyss within her emptied skull. "Do you remember? Because all I can focus on is the static, the loud, burning static." In a moment of terror, you realize you see something inside her, Oblivion Hollow. It's clawing upward, jittering and fluctuating like static inside her Stygian emptiness. You can't help it. Turning, you run, the scalpel still clutched tightly in your fist. So at this point, we're going to gain ending B+1, gain the coda card, the Noose, unlock Emily's specific domain card, Fresh Scalpel, and immediately acquire it for free. Sweet. And it's if it's unlocked in another way, you're going to gain it, or if somebody else has it. It also says here, place a red consequence token on the west wing. All right, and then place a completed token on the attic and return to the game. We'll place our consequence token on the west wing. We have gained the Noose, so we are now even better at the yellow one, but we have zero in the red. Super, super good. All right, then we also get the Fresh Scalpel. After you kill a monster during your attack action, you may restore 1 mental capacity. That is bonkers good. So good. I need to kill something. Emily now can do pretty much anything with yellow, but she's pretty weak in every other stat. Well, green isn't too bad, but 1 in blue and yellow, 0 in red. Oofda, that's absolutely no good. And the back of the coda card, we have 2 more yellow, purple, blue, and green. Sadly, Linus is absolutely surrounded. We've got to get him out of here. He's going to use this move or search support card to get out. He's going to move 1, 2, 3 up to the asylum hallway. At this point, I'm going to try to do some stuff up there and then let these guys use their mental capacity to get to me, and that's maybe when we can make our attacks. Speaking of being up here and having to do stuff, I'm going to spend 1 mental capacity to do a domain action, meaning I'll roll my dice and gain the domains for that particular place. Let's see what we can get from this domains here. We got a couple wilds and a yellow brain. We'll place those down. We got a green wild, a purple wild, and a yellow brain. At this point, I'm going to spend 1 more mental capacity, and I'm going to search this area. Wait, should I search or should I do something else? I think what I'm going to do instead is pay 2 to do an encounter there. Let's check out what's in the asylum hallway. Staff and volunteers. This is it, Lockwood Asylum. You're finally here, trying to calm butterflies in your stomach. You stride toward your fresh start. All right, let's see what happens. You stand at Lockwood's Asylum courtyard, looking up at the grand entrance as it towers above you. Trepidation stirs inside as you stare up at the edifice, but you're almost successful in convincing yourself it's just new job jitters. A cool breeze blows through the leaves of the maples and poplars encompassing you, whistling through the center island's weeping willow and across the lane to the front door. A few cars sit dormant around the paved loop, dividing the island from the front steps. Each abandoned derelict staunchly awaits its occupant's return. Taking a deep breath, you set out. Entering the foyer, you sweep your gaze across the entry. It's a waiting room with a few chairs lining the walls and several scattered tables toppled with aging magazines. A receptionist counter awaits at the far side of the room, and to the left of this are 2 large double doors. There is no receptionist, but the doors are ajar. Sliding between them, you enter the asylum's central hallway. A small plaque overhead directs you toward the asylum's various wings, but you don't want to delve into their depths yet. You notice the administrative office sits to the right, and the employee lounge sits to the left. Perhaps one of those will be your first stop. If you wish to enter the employee lounge, go to 53. If you prefer to talk to the asylum director, in the administrative office, proceed to 38. I don't see why we just don't sit and wait until somebody calls us. Let's go to the 53, the employee lounge. Besides, I think we've already been to the administrative office, so 53 might be a new place. The transfer. Okay. You enter the employee lounge to find several nurses chatting as they bustle about, preparing for their shifts or readying to leave for the day. Smiling at them, you proceed to your locker to access your personal effects. So I hear you transferred to North Wing already, Missy, one of the nurses, Mildred, says, stepping up to your side. Did you take someone off in the East? You shrug. Not that I'm aware of, you reply. The director said he misassigned me. Huh, Mildred replied. Well, whatever the case, it sounds like we'll be seeing a lot more of each other. Then she winks at you. Try to keep up. I doubt there'll be any problems with that, Mildred, you reply with a smile. Ooh, spunky, Mildred says. I like that. Then every nurse beside yourself freezes in mid-movement. You look around shocked. They're utterly still. Well, at least nearly so. You still hear their teeth chattering together like a wind-up toy. Your mouth drops as you swivel to stare at them, but Mildred grabs your arm and pulls you close. Your sister is looking forward to seeing you, Mildred whispers. She's waiting for you. Don't dally. My sister? You say, but Mildred's eyes glaze over. Then every nurse in the place snaps back to life, moving and talking as if they hadn't just become a room of chattering mannequins. Mildred shakes her head, bewildered, then turns. She wanders off, leaving you stunned and alone. You feel like there's something deeper going on here. You're missing something, but what? Ending A gets +2. Well, okay, we've already kind of decided that's not the greatest one, but maybe it is. Who knows? Transport the current wanderer to the North Wing. Spawn the encounter the Weeping Nurse on Asylum Hallway. If not revealed previously, spawn the encounter Forced Reassignment on the Administrative Office. Then place a completed token on the Asylum Hallway if there isn't one there. Remove the encounter card, the Transfer, from the game and return to the game. A goes up 2. It is now at 4, which is now also as high as D. We have Forced Reassignment. That one is supposed to go here with this entire collection we have. This one, the Weeping Nurse, it says you must spend 1 pill token to enter this encounter. I've yet to find a pill token. I'm going to guess maybe at the pharmacy, but the pharmacy is guarded by every monster on the planet. And then we're also going to get rid of the Transfer. The Transfer we're going to discard from the game. At this point, I'm going to have her use 1 mental capacity, and she is going to use her palliative care. Spend 1 and a domain matching one of the occupied world shard sentients. Then choose a wanderer in your space, can be yourself, and that chosen wanderer gets to heal 2. And from where she is, there is a blue one. So she's going to get rid of this blue. She's going to also get rid of 2 health damage that she's taken. So she's back up to 5 of 9. At this point, we're going to activate Whisper, and most likely Whisper is just going to move 1 space. We'll move her token to there and check out her card. Without a wanderer in Whisper's space, it's going to move 1 space toward the nearest wanderer. Now, one thing I think I forgot to do is I forgot to lose this when we went to our last encounter. And sadly, he doesn't have any shards, so I believe we're going to grab 1 wound instead. Now, I might have missed that, but we'll see. Okay, we're just going to gain the wound right there. And Whisper is going to move 1 towards the closest wanderer, which is going to put it there. Emily is just right over here on this card, 4 away. Emily's turn is going to consist of us using this card to make an attack action. Now I can make an attack of up to 3 spaces away. And remember, it's not going to cost me anything because it's one of our support cards. And we have a character 1, 2 spaces away. We're going to try to take this guy down. I get to roll yellow against him, and we go for yellow hands. Thinking it through a little bit more, I think I'm going to go for the skull just because it's more prevalent on the yellow dice. I get to roll 5 dice, and hopefully this will be enough to kill him. I need to get a really good roll. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I got 4. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I definitely chose the right symbol to attack. Now I get to roll 1 more dice to see if we're able to knock this guy out. Let's roll it up and see what we get. Yes, we got him. I got 5 of those. I got 5 of those guys. Now, of course, there was a 1 in 3 chance, or there's a 50-50 chance that those were going to come up because one of them is also a wild symbol. But oh my gosh, that was so good. I did 5 damage to Bestial. In a stroke of good luck, we were able to take this mongrel off the board, remove all this. Now it does say down here, wanderers cannot use hand domains actions, and if Bestial dies via a hand rift, I get an extra shard. Sadly, I'm not going to get my extra shard because I went for the skulls, but that's totally okay. He's off the board, and that was way more important. Killing that guy really made Emily feel amazing because now she can use this fresh scalpel. After you kill a monster during your attack action, you may restore one of your sentience, or not sentience, sorry, mental capacity. So I go up 1 on the track, I'm back to 6. I can do like a full action now. Getting back some of that mental capacity really is going to pay off here, I think. What I'm going to do, I've got a plan, bear with me. I'm going to spend 1 to do a domain action, which means I'm going to be able to roll a blue, a red, and a green die and be able to put those onto my character's board. We got ourselves 2 brains and an eye. We'll place those into their respective slots. And that action now allows us to go back to one of our cards. And we're actually going to perform a confrontation action, mainly because I still have my noose card that I haven't used yet. And I'd hate for this character to move over here and get me. One of the things that this character can do is, of course, get rid of those awesome cards. So I can attack up to 3 spaces away. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to a confrontation action against that abomination. According to our card, we need to get 2 purple brains and 1 green brain. I get to roll 2 purple dice, 1 because of my card and 1 because of the token that I received from Lioness. The other one I get to roll is 2 greens. So we'll roll these up, hopefully get enough to be able to do what we need to do. I've gotten 1 wild, which is going to suffice to the green brain. I also got a wild, which is going to equal 1 purple brain. Now I do have a purple brain token. So we're going to spend that to be able to gain the successes we need in order to complete this card. This card is going to deal 2 damage to the abomination, but check this out. I'm going to get 0 shards. Super good. The abomination now has 15 damage on it. I only need to do 3 more and we're able to take it off the board. Then I didn't even need to spend this card, so we'll be able to hold on to it and maybe use it next time. We will discard the card that we used and draw a new card. And this is one of the last ones we have, and we have to redraw the deck. This one says a wanderer is on a world shard with a yellow sentience. Fury deals 2 damage to each wanderer on a world shard. Oh, that's terrible. On yellow shards. Well, I'm not. Actually, Emily's okay right now, but our other guy is not. Now, sadly, this one's only going to do 2 damage, so I'd have to even do another confrontation to take him out. So I might let that card go off and maybe try to resist the damage so that maybe we can get a better card that's going to do at least 3 damage and be able to take him out in 1 hit. Here we sit. I'm just going to remove our 2 standees here because we have 4 of these absolute destructomatic people here that we have to activate. We'll have to figure out which order we can activate them. Of course, we do get to choose which order they activate, and then of course, hopefully we get them all off this square so we can do something. We'll start by activating the easy one. That's going to be Whisper, because Whisper is just going to move 1 space towards the nearest wanderer, so that'll just be right up to there. Now, of course, it's only going to move it 1 down the time track. Flare Visceration here will also be pretty easy to activate. The way this one's going to work is first going to start by activation. It's going to, every round, if a traumatized deck top card has like this eye sun symbol on it, the nearest wanderer immediately gains it. Well, right now the top of the deck is this, so it's not that particular card. We'll move to the next part that says no wanderer in its space. Flare moves 1 space toward the nearest wanderer. If it ends in a wanderer's space, each wanderer in that space gains a traumatized card. So again, he'll just move 1 space over to there. And his thing will move down 1 on the time track, or I should say mental capacity. We're going to go with Lobotomy next. No wanderer in its space. Lobotomy moves up to X spaces on the board toward the nearest wanderer, toward the wanderer with the most domains that have to do with the brain symbol. If Lobotomy ends in the wanderer's space, immediately check the action below. The amount that this person will move is based on the amount of brain symbols or brain domains. And the winner is Emily with 3. They'll move Lobotomy pretty much across the board here. 1, 2, 3 over to the attic. Now that'll move Lobotomy 2 down the track. Aftershock is also going to move 2 down the track when it uses its action. And Aftershock is pretty much going to go wreck somebody. It says here that if there's no wanderer in its space, Aftershock moves X spaces towards the nearest wanderer with the most hand domains. And it's going to move equal to how many they have. And if Aftershock ends in a wanderer's space, it immediately checks the action below. And again, the winner is Emily. And being the winner, tell her what she's won. She's won this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up there. 1 turn, boom, in the same space. Okay, then we have to check the action below. The action states that a Wanderer in its space, Aftershock deals 2 red damage to the Wanderer with the most hand domains. Of course, this will be Emily again. I only get to roll 1 red for this, and hopefully I got an eye, so that means I'm only going to take 1 damage. So I'm at 6 damage with Emily. I replaced all the ones with a 5, so that's where we stand. And I do want to mention that something I haven't mentioned is, because I haven't, is Aftershock is not allowing me to use these to re-roll. I cannot re-roll right now with Aftershock on the board. Good news, that does move Aftershock to the bottom, so I don't have to worry about that character till the next turn. So we just have to worry about these guys right now. Maybe we can try to take one of them out before they activate again. Our 2 characters are going to search, again, trying to maybe keep, I want these monsters to come to me. I also notice this guy shouldn't be out here. He's dead. I killed him a long time ago. I'm trying to get these guys to move into our squares so we can attack them without them actually hitting us with anything because they've run out of mental capacity. We'll see if that works. Or maybe I should just attack Aftershock. I know Aftershock's done, but maybe eliminating something off the board isn't the end of the world. Let's search. We can each hold 1 more card. That'll be the most we can hold. And besides, he can use those cards and just gain domains from them if they're no good. We'll draw Emily's card first and see what she has found. She has found a lost compass. It's an equipment. I get +1 blue. That's fantastic. My blue is actually 1, so that'll be 2 then. Action. Move 1 space for free. Limit once per round. Okay, well, I can move once for free. That's, oh my gosh, that's actually fantastic. I actually might even use that this round because I can move. Okay, now I guess, like I said, I've got 4 cards now. You can't have any more than that, so I have to either discard them or use them for their bonuses, for the domains down here when I make an attack or something, or try to do a test of some kind. Same is going to be for Linus. He's going to grab a card as well. He has found himself Fetal Specimen. I can max +1 mental capacity. That's bonkers awesome. And whenever your damage is reduced for any reason, place a wound on this card as well. There are 3 wounds on this card. Discard this. Oh no! So I only get it for a short period of time because eventually this thing's going to die. It probably might even die this turn. This round, which is going to be too bad. If I get 2 things on it, I want to make sure I use that card to make sure I can get these domains before it dies. Now we have to activate all 3 of these, and they're all going to move 1 space towards us. This one will move up here, this one will move over, or this one has to move, I guess, up here. And then the Abomination is going to start moving towards us as well. And the reason the Abomination moved is it was on a 3, it doesn't have enough mental capacity to use its card. At this point, I think it's now time to take somebody out. We have 3 mental capacity, so we can use an attack action. It normally costs us 2, but we're attacking something 1 space away, so it's going to cost us 3. So both our characters are going to attack. I was going to try for the red brain, but I think we're going to go for the purple eyeball instead because I roll 3 of both of those type of dice, and the purple ones have a better chance of getting that wild symbol. I've decided to actually start with Emily. Emily gets to roll 2 dice for her purple sentience, and she's going to go after the eyes. Let's see how she does. She needs to hopefully get at least 1. She got 2! That's fantastic. And I get to add in an extra one as well because I had this as a wild domain. We'll place 3 damage onto Whisper. Linus gets to roll 3 dice, and he's just looking for wilds. Hopefully we get enough of those. We got 1, 2, and 3. That is enough. Boom! We took Whisper out. That's awesome. That worked out perfectly. I actually had him attack last, so I could actually get him some of these shards. We'll remove Whisper from the board. Oh my gosh, that enemy has been a pain in my neck. And move our character's mental capacity 1, 2, 3 down to the 0 slot. At this point, we'll have to activate all of our other characters. This one is gone, thank goodness, but the other ones are going to activate, and basically they're just going to move 1 space until they get to us. So this one's going to move 2 spaces, 1, 2. This one's going to move as well to get to us, and then we'll have to see how that one's going to interact. It's going to move 1, 2, and all these are going to go to the 0, but I believe they're almost all going to get to us. Our Abomination will move 1, 2 to the hallway. He's going to move 1, 2, like I said, and reach our square, and this one will also reach our area as well. Lobotomy used its 2 remaining in order to move for this turn, so this one is not going to attack us, thank goodness. Now this one is going to run out, but it states here, no Wanderer in its space flare moves 1 space toward the nearest Wanderer. If it ends in a Wanderer's space, each Wanderer in the space gains a traumatized card, so we're going to have to deal with that. I had to pick and choose and decide what I want to deal with. I could have maybe took this guy out instead of Murmur, but I figured getting Murmur off, we can do some more work on trying to figure out what our story is for our characters and make those tracks go without having to spend any of our shards here. The first one is going to be for Emily. Emily is going to gain a traumatized card that looks like this. Now remember, he had something about stars on him. This is not the star symbol. There is ones in there that actually look like kind of a star. This one says traumatized. You can't spend wild domains as other types of domains. That's terrible. At the end of the action phase, you may spend 2 wild domains of any sentience to discard this card. Well, that's probably the worst thing that could possibly happen. I'll just place that right there. That's horrible. Let's see what Linus gets. Linus gets this one, big, huge, giant brain. I'm sure this is going to be good. You cannot spend brain domains instead of mental capacity to perform actions. At the end of the action phase, I can discard 2 brains to discard this. That's fun. That's fun. Okay, that's the end of our turn. We're going to go into the cleanup phase. I should say refresh phase, sorry. We're going to put all of our mental capacity to the top. Of course, we are going to check the winning conditions, the respawning dead wanderers. Neither of those is going to happen, but we are going to put our enemies back out there. The Flayer is going to go on to number 4, and also Lobotomy and Aftershock are going to join him on number 4. So hopefully we can take a couple of those out before they start getting us. We're going to go at 7. Now he's going to gain an extra one because of the item he has, and of course we're going to put our Abomination on 8 as well. At this point, we'll go into the event phase where we're going to flip over number 50 here, hopefully get a reprieve from these monsters. Entry 50 does say check the spawning conditions on the back of each unspawned encounter card. At this point then, we'll also spawn Terror Patient, Hysteria, and a random terror from the terror deck on different world shards. So no reprieve from these monsters. First thing we'll do is roll to see where Hysteria is going to go. We'll roll that one out here. Number 1, Hysteria is going to go on to the space entry right there. That's fantastic, kind of far away from us. We're also going to spawn Rabbit, and we'll look at the card shortly. Rabbit is going to spawn into number 17, it's only 16, so we'll re-roll that again. It's going to go to number 13, and that one is the Asylum basement up at the top. We've seen Hysteria before. Hysteria is going to be the one that stops us from using defense, and then we also have to deal with the eyes in order for moving around and doing damage. We'll roll up our Sentience dice to see where the rifts are. We're going to put a red hand, a blue brain, and a purple skull. We'll place those rifts right here. I'm kind of digging that red hand. I know that's kind of a common number on that die. Rabbit is a new monster. I don't believe we've fought this one before. It basically is going to prevent me from using skulls to do the action with it. And if it dies, though, I get an extra shard if I kill it with a skull. It's going to move around basically until it can't anymore, and then it's going to attack through skulls. First, you're going to remove the domains, and then if you can't remove any domains, you're going to deal damage equal to the amount of mental capacity it has left if you can't remove any more of those skulls. We'll roll up our dice for its rifts and see what we get here. Oh my gosh. We got 2 skulls. That's no good. A red skull, a yellow skull, and a brain. We'll place those shards out here. Now, sadly, we got to really get rid of this guy because those skulls are bad news on a card like that. Now we can start our turn. The person that is going to activate first is going to be our Abomination. Our Abomination is not going to move. The first thing it's going to do at the beginning of its turn, at the beginning of its activation, is it's going to check if we have any of those Envenom cards. We do not, so we're not going to take any damage. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to try to attack us with its card. It's going to resolve its active confrontation card, and this one says a Wanderer in a world shard with yellow sentience. Fury deals 2 damage to each Wanderer on a world shard with yellow sentience. Each targeted Wanderer then gains X Envenom cards, the amount of damage that this Wanderer lost from this damage. This would be absolutely terrible because, of course, we are in a shard that has a world shard that has a ton of yellow, so both of our characters get hit by this, and we're going to discard that card. That card will also cost 4 mental capacity, 1, 2, 3, 4, bring it down to 4. Good news for Emily, she has 5 yellow dice. We got 1 so far. I need to roll 1 more and see how we do. 2. We were able to block both of the damage for her. Now we have to go to Linus. Linus only has, I think, 2, so this is probably going to be pretty bad. Linus is going to grab 2, roll them up, and see how it goes here. He was able to block 1, so he is going to take 1 damage and gain 1 Envenom card. We'll place the damage here, and we'll gain our 1 Envenom card. It states that I roll 1 less purple during a defense test. Next, we have to shuffle up our cards here and then draw another card out and see which one we get. We've got this one. Oh my gosh, a whole ton of shards. But if I am able to do the confrontation on this, it's going to take 4 damage and we're going to kill it. I don't know how we're going to do that many shards of damage on it though. Let's look at this guy. He doesn't have anything that's going to help him. The first thing Linus is going to do on his turn is use the Gifts of Faith. Wanderers with a Faith token may gain a random domain matching that. So he's going to gain a green one, and Emily's going to gain a purple. I'm just going to roll them right here. Oh my gosh, 2 wilds. That's absolutely awesome. We'll place his right here, and we'll place Emily's over on her board. I also forgot to place out the mental capacity trackers. This one's going to go on 3, and the Hysteria's is going to go on 4. I also forgot to put a damage on Fetal Specimen. When he takes damage, this also takes damage. What we're going to do next is something a little odd. I'm actually going to destroy this circular saw. I'm going to use this ability at any time, remove a domain card from a Wanderer's possession from the game to gain the domains printed on the bottom section, storing them on your dashboard. So I'm going to get 2 red skulls and a red wild symbol from this saw and discard this from the game. I don't really see myself using it very often. Mainly, I don't have any red domains, and basically turning any of these into red isn't really going to help too much for anybody. He does get to roll 3 red dice, which does help quite a bit, but I just didn't have any domains, and this board doesn't give you a lot of red domains to be able to roll on. So with that done, we'll continue on with what he's going to do. Let's try to get this vile monster off the board. We're going to attack his red brain symbol with Linus. Before we attack the yellow brain rift, I should say, I'm going to buy this card. It's going to cost me all of my, what do you call them here? These thingies, shards. Thingies. It says here, when spending the skull or wild domains to help other wanderers pass a test, my skulls or wild domains may be treated as representing any sentience. So that's going to be fantastic. So now she's rolling 6 dice against that brain rift that we have to hit. Let's roll up our dice and see how we do. We're able to get 1, 2 with the wilds. I didn't even get any brains. Something else. I do get to roll 2 more dice and see if we can at least get 1 more. I threw 1 dice on the ground. That was fantastic. So let's try rolling it in instead. We got ourselves another wild. So that's 3. We got ourselves 3 of those. And I have another one right here, which is going to be 4, which is going to be enough to take this guy out. I only needed 4 more to get the 7 health that we needed. So this guy is off the board and I get 2 sentience, or sorry, shards. That cost me 2 mental capacity, but because of my the fresh scalpel, I get 1 back when I kill an enemy. And now she is going to perform a domain action on the domain the shard she's on, which is going to give her 3 yellow dice. Let's roll these up, and I got myself a wild, a skull, and a brain. Wow, I don't think I can do much better than that. That's a really good roll. Linus is going to use one of our cards to use an attack action against Aftershock, going after the purple brain. He gets to roll 3 purple dice. We're looking for brains or wild. We got 1, 2, and then I can spend a purple brain to do 3 damage to Aftershock, which means it's half dead. Now with his real action, he is going to attack Aftershock through the purple wild. And to do that, it's going to cost him 2 mental capacity, but he is going to pay 1 shard to only have to spend 1. We'll roll our 3 dice looking for wild symbols. We got 2, I needed 3, but that's okay. Now we're gonna spend our last 2 mental capacity to roll for red brains. Oh, man, I was hoping he'd die in 2 shots, but nope. Might take us all 3. It did. We get our last one right there. So Aftershock is completely dead. We'll gain back our 1 shard. The time has come. We're going to do it. I am going to try to take out that abomination. We're going to use this as a confrontation action. I'm going to be rolling an absolute slew of dice. Get this. First, we get 2 greens. We also get 2 purples, and we get an astronomical amount of yellows. So let's roll up all these dice first and see how we do here. Okay, so we got some good things. Okay, the 2 yellows have been done. I'm going to remove the 2 yellow dice. I no longer need that. I got 1 purple die that I need, and I got 1 green die that I need. Now I do need another purple wild. So at this point, I'm going to use the noose. The noose is going to be allowing me to roll an extra purple die. So we'll roll this purple die back in and hopefully get our wild symbol. We got our wild symbol. Okay, boom. We got him. Okay, so we got the 2 yellows, the 2 purples, and the green. That means we're able to do, I think it's 3 or 4 damage to the abomination, taking the abomination out. We got him off the board. Oh, that's such a good relief. Fury only had 3 left, so we were able to take him out. When you do take him out, you get a card. These are going to be cards that you persist throughout your campaign. So I'm going to be able to use these cards in upcoming campaigns with these characters, which is pretty cool. So we're going to get 1 for each character. That'll be Emily's, and that will be Linus's. Also now, if you ever lost to this particular abomination, you would lose these cards. And if you continue to lose to an abomination, eventually you would be putting tokens into these little envelopes, and those envelopes, and when you play against other abominations of the same type, remember there's 2 different types of these abominations. Those abominations are going to gain extra advantages throughout that game, which will be bad. But this is going to be Emily's. Emily is going to be able to gain 1 max health and +1 purple. Oh, that's so good. And then we'll see what Linus gets. Linus is going to be able to gain the same thing, 1 max health and 1 purple. I'll take it. That's fantastic. I love purple dice. Those are the wild ones. This guy is completely done now. Oh my gosh. Now that is also one of the things we need to do in order to have a victory in this game, is be able to take out the abomination. Of course, the other thing we need to do is we need to start doing encounters. We need to raise our score. I will put a use token on this particular card, though I don't think it's going to matter anymore now that the abomination is off. I don't think we're going to be using many of those cards anymore. And the last thing we're going to do is I am now going to spend 2 mental capacity to take out Lobotomy. I'm going to go for this rift right there and see if we can take him out. And that puts our mental capacity track in this position right here, meaning if we can take out Lobotomy, there's going to be only 2 people on the board, and that is fantastic. We're able to really whittle these people down. Now, of course, I have to get a great roll in order to take him out. I do get to roll an astronomical amount of dice. I'm up to 6 dice with Emily on the yellows. And of course, I got about a 50-50 chance of getting these. So I got 3. I got 3 right now with those dice there. I then get to roll 2 more dice. So I'm just going to put the 3 damage onto Lobotomy and pick up all these dice. Now I'm going to keep this one up in the corner. And the reason I'm keeping that one up in the corner on a symbol that is not what I want, I don't know what the symbol was, but that's okay, because I can re-roll dice if I need to. I've got some abilities to do that. We'll roll 2 more dice in and see what we did. We got 1 more, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 damage to Lobotomy. I also do get the extra damage with this card right here. I get to get +1 damage when attacking somebody with one of my patients, so I'm actually up to 5 damage, and I need to get a Skull Domain, so I'm wondering if I should re-roll a die or use my Skull Domain. I think I'm going to re-roll a die. So let's re-roll one of these dice, see how it goes. Oh, it didn't go well, so instead we're just going to use our Domain to be able to destroy this guy. Sadly, I used a lot of my domains in order to do this, but I was able to get the 6 damage to kill Lobotomy, giving me 1 shard. I also should have gotten 2 shards from taking, or is it 1 shard? 2 shards for going against that, so I should get a total of 3 shards. And with those 3 shards, I'm going to buy another card. I'm going to use this one, Muscle Memory. When no longer need to spend mental capacity when performing the action on either Palliative Care or Soothing Murmurs. I'm going to buy that. It is going to cost me 3, so that's the 3 that I just got. I also get 1 mental capacity back from my Sharp Scalpel. I don't think I get a mental capacity back because I beat the Abomination. It says on the card that I'm able to get 1 of my mental capacity back during your attack action when I kill a monster. So I don't believe the Abomination is technically a monster. The Abomination is an abomination. It is not a monster. So that's what I'm going with. We are going to remove Lobotomy from the board and also remove its token. It's this one right here. Hysteria does get to go now, and it's going to move towards the person with the most eyeballs. Linus has 2, so it's going to move 2 spaces towards Linus using 2 mental capacity. 1, 2 over to here. Now, since it's using 2 of its mental capacity to move, I could technically almost kite this guy around and not really worry about him, because it would always be going after Linus with the 2 eyes. So I can move Linus like down here a little bit or over into this area, and you'd have to use his 2 to come back this way. But also getting these monsters off the board is going to be able to help me, because with Hysteria on the board, I can't use eye domains to prevent damage during defense tests. So I don't get that extra defense abilities, which is bad news. It's going to be Emily's turn at this point, and Emily's going to use this card to make an attack action against Rabid. She again is going to go after this skull symbol, and I need every one of these guys to come on the board. I need them to come onto a place with yellow sentience, because yellow sentience is absolutely bonkers amazing when it comes to having to deal with anything Emily has to. Let's see if we can take this out. I need to roll 6 dice, and look at that. I already got 3. My dice are on fire. So I got 3. I get to roll 3 more. I only have 1. I'll just roll a couple times and see how it goes. 1, and I need to roll 1 more, and I got 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. This person only has 5 damage. So at this point, I am actually going to spend my sacrificial dagger to gain this right here. I don't think I'm going to use this at all. And on top of that, I have 4 domain cards right now, and I'm thinking about searching soon to be able to get another one. So with Rabbit dead, because I did kill him, I'm going to gain another shard, putting my shard total up to 3. We'll remove this and move myself up 1 for killing an enemy. Sadly, I think we will be kiting Hysteria around the board a little bit because it has the worst rifts that we could possibly have. Green, blue, and red are some of our worst rifts. Linus is okay at reds, but overall, they're just bad. And green is okay with Linus too, but I just don't have the domains to be able to deal with those as well. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I am going to start by using my Lost Compass for Emily. Emily does for an action, gets to move 1 space for free. She's going to move to right here. Then she's going to use a card because you can only use cards in between actions. You have to do an action other than a card, and that was technically an action other than a card. So this one now I'm going to use a move action with this card. And we need to find pills. 1, 2, 3. Pharmacy? Maybe Pharmacy has some pills. That's where we're going to go with her. And at this point, we are going to spend 2 on the mental capacity track, bringing it down to 3 in order to perform an encounter there. The sign says pharmacy, but this place looks more like a tomb. Still, you can vaguely see the discrepancies where's beneath the cobwebs. Let's take a look and see what it says here. A sign marked with the faded scratched word pharmacy dangles from one nail before you. Pivoting to the door beside it, you turn the handle. Maybe you can find something useful inside. Yeah, like some pills. Pills would be great. The old hinges open with a guttural groan, and you peer tentatively into the room beyond. The place looks almost like a tomb. Cobwebs are spun across every surface, a layer of dust that's thick enough to carve draped across the cabinets and floor. Tinctures, vials, and bottles crowd together on every shelf. A smell of dry decay wafts through the air. You don't immediately see anything overly alarming, so you step into the room. As you move deeper into the pharmacy, though, you face a shock. Bodies are propped up in the corners or squirreled away atop tall cabinets. They look old, almost mummified. However, you're not sure if these mummies are wrapped in gauze or a substance like spider webbing. Something draws you to examine one of the mummies. As you move forward, though, you notice a clipboard hanging up that could also be interesting. Then you hear a bump on the other side of the nearest line of shelves. Is there something in the next aisle? Well, I'm not going to go there. If you want to examine one of the mummies, nope, don't want to examine the mummies. That sounds like a bad idea. If you're going to study the clipboard, that doesn't sound too bad. Or if you want to see, nope, not in the next aisle. And I want to see it in the next aisle. That sounds terrible. Let's go to 139 and check out the clipboard. Drawing your attention away from the pharmacy's oddities, you turn to the clipboard hanging from a nail hammered into the side of a case. It's thick with old yellowed papers, and you quickly realize it's a medication list with patients' names scrawled below each medicine. You flip through the pages searching for anything useful and land at last on a listing described as a powerful antipsychotic drug. The description declares that it is meant to, quote, suppress foreign voices and static in the patient's mind, as well as lessen the severity and frequency of hallucinations, visions, and night terrors. Can be used in combination with other substances to make the patient more docile and less prone to problematic delusions or destructive tendencies. There's something stimulously interesting and repulsive about the medication's description, though you're not entirely sure what. Your eyes scroll down the patient list and you land on 3 names interspersed throughout them: Laura Bingham, Elizabeth Hawkins, and Emily Hawkins. A strange sound arises behind you. Actually, no, it's coming from everywhere. Putting down the clipboard, you step back, looking frantically around you. Well, we get 1 towards D, and I have to go to 154. Putting 1 towards D brings our D total up to 5. A deep, rattling hiss arises from every corner of the room. Panicked, your gaze darts around the enclosed space, searching for the source. Never mind. This place isn't worth it. No matter what treasures you might find here, you turn to flee from the pharmacy. The mummies all swell, their mouths stretching wider and wider as something pushes upward out of them. The bodies judder and shake, their webbed restraints tearing as they pitch back and forth. The old bones crack and snap as their skin rips. Belches white creatures that almost resemble spiders spill out of the mummies' mouths, tumbling to the ground and skittering in all directions towards you. Their maws make a horrible mowling sound as they approach, their pale skin utterly devoid of eyes. How do they know you're here? Is it your scent, your breathing, your fear? You can't escape in time. The creatures are already on you, clutching at your shoe and legs. Their teeth gnaw and chatter. You scream. Oh, a dry, crackling voice wheezes, "A patient!" A tall, lanky man wearing a tattered lab coat stumbles around the side of the cabinets. The top of his head is completely gone, leaving behind a crescent wound, as if something took one great bite out of it. His belly is also exposed, riddled with ragged holes and gaping gashes. The pharmacist picks up one of the white spider things and starts beating another one with it. He stomps on them and crushes them until they scatter away like bleached cockroaches. The man grins and leans down into the place where you have crumpled on the ground. His teeth are yellow, rotten, and slanted. His face little more than his smile, nose, and a tuft of hair. "Now," he says with a gray and red mass that is what remains of his brain softly pulsing, "you look like you're in pain. How may I be of service?" So if that wasn't creepy enough, I get to get one towards my C ending, which will push C ending to 2. Then we're going to gain the coda card, the pharmacist. We're going to spawn the encounter, the pharmacist's truth, on the pharmacy. Place the completed token on the pharmacy and return to the game. So if the description wasn't creepy enough, there is the pharmacist. Look at this, another yellow, but -1 purple. But that's okay, because I got that extra purple from my card. And then we're going to put the pharmacist's truth, must spend 1 pill token into the encounter. Still haven't found any pill tokens. This is driving me insane. All right, we'll put our character there. We'll also place a completed token here. And here are Emily's stats. She's doing pretty good. She's got 7 yellow sentience, and then 2 for green, blue, and purple, and 1 for red, with all the different bonuses, tokens, and things of that we have. Just an update for Linus. Linus has got some pretty good purple. He's got 4, and he's got 3 green and 3 red, and 2 yellow and 1 blue. So we have a pretty good division of our best stats here. Of course, blue is an absolute terrible stat for us right now. Linus is going to move 1, 2 to the psychiatrist's office, again looking for pills. Maybe the psychiatrist has them. And what we're going to do is we're going to use, we haven't seemed to have any trouble getting shards, so we're going to use our 2 shards to move. Now that is the most I can use. It does say on the card that you can never spend more than 3, and I think I've already spent 1 this round. The rounds do take quite a while, and sadly I kind of lose track of everything that's going on. I should probably mark stuff a little bit better on my cards. Maybe I didn't use them, but I know I haven't used all of them. So we're going to be able to move to the psychiatrist's office. Both of our characters are sitting at 2. I'm going to do an encounter action here, but what I'm going to use is this card. I'm going to use this card to perform an encounter action. That's my last support card, and that way we've used all the support cards. The only enemy still out on the board is Hysteria. Hysteria is only able to move 2 spaces unless, of course, Linus grabs any more eyes domains. Then it's going to start moving even farther, but I'm hoping it only can move 2 next turn, so we'll be out of its way and out of harm's way, and we can really work on these encounters. Here we are in the psychiatrist's office. It says a shadowy figure watches as you move toward the psychiatrist's couch. Something is off, but you haven't talked to anyone in so long. Let's see what it says here. Let's read our little story here. Complimentary therapy. You sink into the psychiatrist's couch. Why would you sit down, reclining back to look at the ceiling? Cobwebs drape across the room's corners in elaborate swaths, reaching out across the textured surface to intertwine and interweave with one another. You ponder that you must be similar to a fly's last glimpse before the spider strikes. Dust motes dance in the air. "Welcome, my dear," Dr. Thurston says, settling into a chair across from you. He's a man nearing the end of middle age, with thin metal-rimmed glasses and a curtly jutting beard that's just about halfway gray. I glanced at your file before you came in today. I noticed you've been working with us for a while now. Of course, as an employee of Lockwood, these sessions are complimentary, so I want you to feel free to come back whenever you like. Thank you, Dr. Thruston, you reply. That means a lot to me. You're very welcome, my dear, he says. Now, how can I help you today? What would you like to discuss with me? If you want to talk about the girl you met, go to entry 309. To discuss your family, turn to entry 87. Should you prefer to speak about the asylum, proceed to 56. Well, we don't know much about her family. We know about her sister. Let's check out the family one, 87. I've been greatly disturbed about my past recently, Doctor, you say. I keep reliving old hurts that others did to me and that I did to them. I wonder if this place has somehow unearthed these old skeletons in me, forcing me to remember who I was and where I came from. When was the last time you talked with your family, my dear? Dr. Thruston asks. I haven't talked to my family in years, you admit. Not since I left home. Did you leave on bad terms? Yes, you murmur. I don't know if they'll ever speak to me again. And is that possibly because you killed your sister? You snap your head back up to look at Thruston. What did you just say? Oh, come now, my dear, Dr. Thruston says, removing his glasses. Let's not be coy. You grew tired of taking care of your sister, your own twin, and you killed her in cold blood, am I right? You made it look like an accident. The police didn't even investigate past the initial rudimentary inspection. You got away with it, but you didn't really get away with it, did you? It still haunts you. Your sister, Ghost, is always with you, and she's always asking why. You launch to your feet. Your mouth moves your throat, trying to emit sound, but nothing is coming out. That's not true, you finally manage. My sister is a patient here. I saw her just yesterday. Why would you say such horrible things? Thruston shrugs. Whatever reality you prefer will suffice, he says. Truth is such a fickle thing in any case, and there's very little incentive in pursuing it. It's as consistent as memory, and memories are reshaped or lost altogether every day. Backing away from Thruston, you turn to bolt from the room. I look forward to our next little chat, my dear, he calls as you flee from his presence. Oh, wait. Before you go, I have some pills, oh, that's awesome, for you to take. I think they'll help you open you up. Perhaps you'll even see the world from a different perspective. And if you ever need more, you can always get some from the pharmacy. That's fake news. Ending B+1, I get a shard, and then each wanderer gains a pill token, woot woot, and then place a red consequence token on the pharmacy, and place a completed token on the pharmacist's office, and return to the game. Linus will gain 1 shard. He'll also gain a pill token. I'm going to give another pill token over to Emily. B goes up 1. A red consequence token on the pharmacy, and a completed token on the psychiatrist's office. There are 3 different places where you can do where we can actually gain these, use these pills, and one of them is the pharmacy. But before I do that, there is something I want to do first, and that is I am going to buy another card. I'm going to buy the Bedside Manor card. It allows me to gain a skull domain of any sentience at any time. It costs me 2, so I'm going to buy that card, and we're going to use it right now to gain a green domain for the skull. After doing that, I am now going to use my palliative care, which is going to spend 1 of my mental capacity and a domain matching one of your occupied world shard sentience. Then choose a wanderer in your space, can be yourself, and that used wanderer gets to restore 2 health. Emily is going to heal 2, and because I'm on a green space right now and I have a green skull, and because of my muscle memory, I no longer need to spend any sentience when performing, mental capacity performing an action on either palliative care or soothing murmurs. And at this point, I'm going to move Linus over to this place here, moving his token down to 2, and Emily is going to spend 2 and her pill to go to the Pharmacist's Truth. There's only 3 cards out there that need pills. This is one of them, and it even said you might find more at the pharmacy, so who knows, this might be the way to gain more pills. The other one we can go to is the Asylum Hallway. That's where Hysteria is right now, and I don't want to go over there right now. The other one is where Linus is. It's the Inevitable End. That one also takes a pill, so we're going to probably do that with him on his turn. Here we are, the Pharmacist's Truth. Do note it does say right there you need to spend a pill token in order to enter this encounter. It says, you feel out of sorts as you step into this place, as if something is amiss, but it must be time for your medication. Reaching into your pocket, you pull out the bottle of pills and take one. The world peels back, and you enter a scene of utter bedlam. First, you notice a doctor injecting a patient with something to your left. Then, as a patient collapses to the ground in convulsions, the doctor sits on his chest and begins making slow, methodical cuts on the patient's skin with a scalpel. Behind and around you, other patients are literally climbing the walls, staring at you as they claw at wallpaper. So I'm going to test green for brains, and if you fail, I lose 1 mental capacity. I only have 2 green dice, so I'll roll them up and hope for a brain. We got a wild, so that'll be a brain, so we don't lose any mental capacity. Even though if I did lose it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Rushing into the pharmacy, you slam the door behind you. Inside, you see a young woman talking with the pharmacist, who has just shut the window through which he would typically speak to patients. He turns back to the woman as she begins sobbing. "Doctor, please," she murmurs. "I'm so afraid." "These are trying times, to be sure, my girl," the pharmacist replies, placing a hand on the woman's shoulder. "I wish I knew what caused these terrors. I wish I could discern the cause of the mania. But it seems we've all gone rather mad now, haven't we? Part of me wonders if Hass or the junk he put in the basement has anything to do with this. But I suppose that's just as crazy as anything else, isn't it? How ironic that the wardens are now as insane as the inmates." "I need the medication," the woman says. "Please, I can feel the darkness rising inside me. I don't know how much longer I can fight it." The pharmacist begins shaking. He tries to stop himself from laughing by covering his mouth, but that doesn't help. Tears well in his eyes. "It's all gone," he says. "I've used every ounce of it, either on myself or others. We're all alone." Then I'll make it myself," the woman cries. "You can't. I'm out of the ingredients. It made me destroy everything. We're truly on our own, Emily." The woman begins to weep. Then she pulls out a knife and stabs the pharmacist repeatedly in his stomach. He crumples to the ground, but the woman doesn't stop even as he begins trying to crawl away. The pharmacist reaches for a bone saw, and you know what he's going to be. Bone saws ready. Okay, I'm so sorry. This totally takes you out of immersion. That he has stashed on a shelf. The woman slaps it from his hand, then picks it up herself. With a howl, she descends on the pharmacist's head. Aha! This is why he had missing the top of his head. That's pretty awesome. So the pills seem to probably give you a glimpse into what is really happening. So we're going to get 2 towards ending scene, gain the card Maddening Medication, and a shard. We'll remove the counter card Pharmacist's Truth from the game and return to the game. First off, ending C goes to 4. We'll remove the Pharmacist's Truth from the game. We'll gain Maddening Medication. So if it wasn't already bad enough, our blue is terrible. It is even worse. But I did get to gain a red. So we have 1 more red and 1 more blue. And now we got a little bit of a glimpse into some of the stuff that's going on. So it sounds like Emily killed the pharmacist? That's pretty bonkers. Amazing. All right, let's go over to Linus and use his pill. But before we do, we have to activate Hysteria. Hysteria is going to spend 2 mental capacity to move 1-2 towards Linus, who's down here, who has the most eyes. At this point now, Linus will use his remaining mental capacity to go to the Inevitable End. He must spend 1 pill token to enter this encounter, and we'll see what happens. The Inevitable End. Your headache returns, so you quickly pop a pill into your mouth before returning to the papers you were examining. Closing your eyes, you pinch the bridge of your nose. When you open your eyes again, though, you discover that the red ink is running down the page like tiny rivulets of blood. The words and letters drip onto the floor, forming little puddles and leaving the paper empty. Disgusted, you turn from the documents and stride from the room. You step in the hallway. and stop. People line either side of the asylum's corridor. Some are doctors, some are nurses, some are patients, and some, you realize, aren't people at all. They are all looking at you with wide, expectant eyes, at least those who have eyes. "Come!" Dr. Joyce cries from further down the corridor. "Come and be liberated with all finality!" Taking a deep breath, you set out along the corridor. The farther you walk, the more you notice the ground changing. Rather than floor tiles, it is now tendons and ribs. The stuff squelches and snaps beneath your shoes. The air smells of copper and rot. In the distance, you see a throne of bone and desolation. A teenage girl kneels on either side of the throne, each sporting a multitude of arms. You continue forward through a fog of whispers toward your inevitable end. Dr. Thruston falls and steps beside you. Leaning over, he murmurs in your ear, "You don't need her," he says. "You don't need either of them." "There's only one more thing to do," Dr. Hempston says from your other side. "Then you'll be truly free. If you wish to embrace your destiny, go to entry 236. Should you want to shrink it, though, then test yellow for 2 skulls and 2 green for 2 skulls. If you succeed, proceed to 183. Otherwise, go to entry 236. I don't ever understand why I wouldn't take something that would cause me a test that usually feels a lot better. So let's test for those and see what happens. Now, it's going to be pretty tough to beat, so I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll give it our best shot. Interestingly enough, what I thought was going to be a hard test isn't going to be too tough because I do have a green skull domain and I have a yellow wild domain, so I could use those if I need to. So let's roll these up, see what we get, and see if there's anything we can... Well, that's not going to be very good. Not very good at all. I could use my green sentience in my hand slot to be able to reroll a green die. Now there's only no, actually there's a 1 in 3 chance because there is a wild on here as well that we could get. Well, I need to roll inside the thing here and let's see how it goes. Well, we got another brain. There's only 1 brain on those dice. We rolled so many brains. So sadly, we did not pass this test. You nod your face solemnly. "Of course," you say, taking the scalpel from Dr. Hempstead's hand. Then ascending the platform, you swivel toward the girl on your right. "I thought we would make each other whole," she says. "I thought we'd be together forever." "I am all that is required," you reply. "You will only hold me back." Raising your scalpel, you slash. Then you turn to the other girl. "You don't have to do this to me again," the second teen says. "I'm sorry," you say. "I must start over." You slash again. Static shifts through the air, emanating from inside you. The symphony is taking its shape. So at this point, we're going to subtract 1 from ending A, bringing it to 3. Then we're going to add 3 to ending C, which is going to bring that to 7. And finally, we're going to take 1 from D, which brings it down to 4. We're going to gain a shard and unlock the existence card, A Cleansed Mind. The Wanderer Emily immediately requires it for free. Oh, I get it for free, that's awesome. Then I remove the encounter card, the inevitable end from the game. Oh, that's a lot of awesome stuff. I wonder what would happen if we would have passed. We get a Cleansed Mind for free. We don't even have to pay for it. Normally you do have to pay for some of these, but it says we get it for free. Oh my gosh, look at that, 2 blue. We had so bad blue, but -1 green, that's no good. The negative effects of psychiatric treatment cards are ignored. All right, so now I own that card. We'll adjust our numbers and move on. Emily only has 1 left, and with that shard that I gained, it brings my shards up to 2. So I'm going to spend those 2 shards and get this, Soothing Murmurs. As an action, I can spend 1 of my mental capacity, which I am going to do, and then I can spend 1 domain of any specific sentience. Then every wanderer on a world shard that has a matching sentience restores 1 health. I'm going to choose my green brain because both of our characters are standing on a green symbol on a world shard. So we're both going to heal 1, bringing Emily's health to 3, or damage to 3, I apologize, and Linus has 4 damage. So we're able to do some good healing. And that's going to end our turn. This was a fantastic turn. At the end of the action phase, I can spend 2 wild domains, which I do have, which I really don't want to because they're super good. But we're going to get rid of both of those to get rid of this Traumatized card. And we'll go into the refresh step. Well, we'll put R2 on 7, and we'll put the Hysteria on 4, and we'll move into the next round. But we're going to do that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more playthroughs of Dawn of Madness come out. Like I said, we'll be going all the way to the conclusion of this game. I'm having an absolute blast learning about Emily and everything that's going on inside of this asylum. For those of you keeping track, we are at 3 on A, 4 on B, which brings us to 7. We're on 4 on D, which brings us to 11. And we have 7 on C, which brings us to 18. So we're getting a lot closer to that 40 that I was so worried about earlier in the game. It did help that we were able to clean the board and spend a lot of time inside of those encounters in these last few turns. And taking that abomination off the board is absolutely huge and clutch. I strongly recommend getting him off there as fast as you can. Along with your likes and subscribes, I also want to hear anything you have in the comments below. Please feel free to let me know how you're enjoying this game, if you had a chance to play this game, or what you're experiencing inside of this game. And how do you like the other stories? Are they as cool as this one, or is this one a rather awesome story? I haven't dug into any of the other Wanderers yet. Of course, we've only played with Emily. Now, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please feel free to check out the link to the Patreon. It's located in the description of this video. Those that have joined the Patreon are located here on the screen. I appreciate the patronage. It does mean the world to me. And the Patreons do have some awesome perks that they get. One is they get to watch all of Colin and my playthroughs, usually a day or two ahead of time without commercial interruptions. Also, we give them the opportunity to help us evolve the games. Like, for example, they were able to pick this character that came along with us and when we played with Emily. Our Patreons were able to vote on who was going to join her, and they voted on Lioness. Thank you again so much for watching, and if you're excited to see what Colin and I have coming up next, then I need you to meet me at the table.